Cool.
Yeah, man. Let's kill that bass head. Alright, let's do this. I'm on the air, we got this pockets flow. It's me and Tony on the mics, we gotta let you know of current events, little gaming, sprinkle in some entertainment. We stay humble, but our moms still think we're famous. Turn up the bass and baby, maybe let that magic flow. Our spoken word is all the things you really wanna know. Having a good time on the show, T-Bows and Matty G. Tune in and hit subscribe and join us on the FAP.
Welcome, everyone, to the Freaking Awesome Podcast. I am your host, Anthony Bowes, and sitting kind of kitty corner to me is the co-hostess with the mostest, Matty G. How you doing today, buddy?
Hey, not too bad, man. Not too bad. It's been a busy week and got a little bit of snow. Did you guys get snow?
Yeah, I know that was insane. Yeah, we probably got a good, I don't know, maybe a half an inch of snow that stuck around to the next day, and then it was gone. So I couldn't believe it. October and we're getting snow. It's been a long time since that's happened.
Your wife must be used to that, eh? Seeing half an inch and then it's gone.
But a bum. Well, that's enough of you. Let's introduce our guest today. We have a wonderful gentleman, and of course, it would not be a Halloween special, of course, without having a director and producer, and of course, of a zombie movie himself, the son of late George A. Romero, George C. Romero. How are you doing today, George?
I'm great. How are you guys doing?
Doing absolutely wonderful. We can't thank you enough for taking some time and coming up on the show. We were trying to think of a lot of things when it came to all things Halloween, and it just is not the same unless you've got someone who represents zombies. And you are our first zombie man today. So
great.
It worked out really, really well.
Awesome.
I
Well,
think
I'm happy to
George
be
gets
here.
the best sounding guest award as well. You sound fantastic.
Oh, thank you very much.
Yeah. Yeah. It's really, really good. It's amazing always when someone has, some studio equipment kicking around and can make things sound great when you're in an interview. So
My
right,
podcast
Matty.
network, the Indie Brigade, just partnered with Aston Microphones, and this is the Aston stuff that they sent me, and it's
Nice.
stupid fucking awesome. So
Yeah, sounds really good.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely beautiful microphones. They come at a huge arm and a leg. No pun intended, but it is definitely, they're beautiful, beautiful microphones. I think there's another company out there that is somewhere in South Australia that totes their microphones to be right up there with Aston. And they also came at a hefty price tag.
This is fun. It's probably, I've used some of their mics before, and they were always impressive. But this one is just I've been using it since I got it. I've used it almost every day, not for just this, but for doing voiceover and for doing all kinds of other stuff. So it's just phenomenal microphone. So thrilled about it. Thrilled to be here. Thrilled that you guys asked me to come on your show. So thank you very much.
Oh,
Hey, man, anytime.
Matty G, do you want to jump into our hilarious news?
Absolutely. Whoa.
All right, what do you got?
You can't just set it up and say hilarious news. What if it's terribly not funny? Can you just say?
Well, then I'll make up for my art.
Can we just say news?
Well, we can say news, but I'll tell you, if you don't come up with something, I'm going to be shaming you later.
No pressure. Yeah. All right, cool. All right. Well, my first one is
one job.
You'll like this one because it's a bit of a follow-up. So, the fried chicken smelling fire log. We talked about this, right? Okay.
Yeah.
Well, it's back, and this time in quantities that hopefully won't sell out. So, for the last 2 years, KFC has partnered with Walmart. And this company out of Georgia, and they basically are producing KFC smelling chicken logs, which I think is fucking brilliant. But you can't get them because they sell out, right? So
Which I can't believe because the price tag on that was like something like $75 a log or something, wasn't it? Like it was something crazy.
no, it wasn't. No, it wasn't that bad. It was like $17. But they reduced the price
okay.
this year,
Oh,
and so it's 15.
sorry. I was thinking of the what was it, the perfume that smelled like Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina. That was something like $75. Yeah. Okay, sorry. Every once in a while we have a
do though. You know what else you can do for like $5? You can put some regular logs on a fire and then cook a fucking chicken.
It's a good point.
right.
It's a good point.
Right. Oh, people have too much money.
Yeah, and speaking of Gwyneth Paltrow's thing, like I don't know, I think my curiosity would pay the $75. But
you know what? We should see if we can get a hold of that, and that will be Matt's test. It'll be, you know what? Maybe I can see if I can get that a Christmas gift for you.
All right, sounds good, man. I look forward to that.
I don't know how to tell your wife that I bought you Gwyneth Paltrow's vagina.
She'll be like, "What the fuck?"
Yes.
It'll be fun to explain, though.
Yeah. Right.
So
sure.
last year, in the first year, these logs sold out in hours. So they did online purchases through Walmart and in store. So they did both, and they sold out both in hours. So very interesting. So apparently they've doubled their supply for this year. So hopefully that will do it. And they're releasing them in Canada. So we might get these damn things.
Hey, we might get this. This is fantastic.
Or we could take George's advice and just cook a fucking chicken.
Cook a fucking chicken.
Where's the fun in that? Right? But it won't get the 7 herbs and spices.
Yeah, that's a good point. Hey, man.
Yeah, but they put them out on their they put them out on their Twitter or whatever it is, so you can actually get the actual ingredients now.
Yeah.
So there you go.
Oh, then I have absolutely no need to buy KFC anymore. I mean, I don't even think they use real chicken anyways. So it's,
hey, man, and
I'm only buying it for the spices.
When you think about it too, it's like a whole chicken's like $11, and the spices can't be any more than like 4 or 5. So you get the scent and you get to eat a delicious chicken. So
there you go.
It's true.
It's win-win.
Plus, I think if you made your own KFC though, it would probably be just as much as finding out how KFC is made. You'd probably just stop cooking.
Yeah,
so
that's probably true too.
I don't want to open up that can of worms.
Yeah. Right. Just
what do you got, buddy?
Chicken, All right, you're gonna like this one. This was and it's really hard to find completely Halloween related news articles, but this one was brilliant. So the title on this one is Burger King Gets Cheeky with Halloween Prank on Ronald McDonald.
Ooh, okay.
So yeah. So what happened is basically, as crazy as it would sound, there's a Halloween campaign by Burger King that was made possible by a new voice recognition software. It features lights being dimmed and in certain Scandinavian restrooms, and with a vision of Ronald McDonald appearing. So what happens is a visitor of the restaurant would they come in and go to the bathroom, and they've got a campaign that all you have to do is say "canceled clown" 3 times, a la Candyman. And basically the software installed by a Swedish agency called Ingo, Stockholm, will basically recognize the phrase, dim the lights, and then make some like spooky noises, and a hologram or between a 2-way mirror will basically show Ronald McDonald creeping up behind you in the mirror. I thought like that is brilliant. I mean, I don't know why canceled clown. I mean, they could have got, I guess, maybe something completely different, but it would have been a little bit better. But I kind of interested to see, like, how would you mark that around the restaurant? Like, hey, go to the bathroom and scare yourself.
Hey, man, McDonald's has killed the most people. It should be.
Ronald McDonald should frighten people.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, fuck. That's good, man.
Funny.
That's
so
good.
Funny. Yeah.
That's cool. I like when they do that. Have you ever you've seen Wendy's tweets, right? Like Wendy's on Twitter.
Yes.
Man, they slay other
really
companies. So
yeah.
George, if you want some entertainment, I don't know if you've seen them, but Wendy's Twitter, they just light other companies up. It's pretty sweet.
Yeah, they're savage.
Yeah.
Oh,
right, Maddie,
okay.
you have another one?
Yes, you're gonna love this. This is ballsy. So, but there was crystal meth involved. So, anyways,
Is this out of Florida?
no, this is Vancouver, man. This is up
No?
here with us.
Oh,
So,
okay. Hey, this is our problem. Okay.
yeah, this is our problem. A Vancouver Island man is facing charges after choosing a poor time and place to let his creative impulses flow. Nanaimo RCMP saying officer was called to a Tim Hortons on Sunday when staff reported someone had just spray painted the floor of the shop. So the suspect was gone by the time the police arrived, but as the officer was taking photos of the damaged floor, somebody noticed that the guy was out painting the RCMP car. Like, yes, the cojones on this guy, right?
Yeah, totally.
So Constable Gary O'Brien says the person was meticulously painting the windshield before delivering a final blast of paint on the side of the cruiser as the officer ran to find out what was happening. The officer goes outside and there's a guy going to town on the hood of the car and the windshield. So he gets arrested, and to make matters even worse for the guy, after the officer picked up all of his personal belongings, he found a small quantity of crystal meth inside of his backpack. So he cooled his jets inside of a cell for a while. The 24-year-old suspect was promptly arrested and is waiting a court date in February for final conviction.
You get away with the crime. Why? I mean, you're just tempting fate to come back, let alone then to vandalize a police officer's vehicle. Like, I got to tell you, you're right. I mean, you labeled it right there. You've got to have some type of cojones to be able to do that. Wow, that's crazy.
Yeah,
they ought to not get rid of the paint, the graffiti on the car and sell it at auction. I'm sure it's it's not the same as if an artist dies, but doing jail time for your crime. I mean, that ought to bring something to a police auction.
Be funny if it was
Right?
Banksy.
Yeah.
We find out that it was Banksy. Been Canadian and on crystal meth this whole time.
Oh my god, yeah. Well, I'm pretty sure he's got the talent without the need for crystal meth. So.
Oh my gosh, man, dude, that picture that shredded itself, genius. You hear about that?
Just complete genius. Yeah, that was just so amazing. Yeah. Right on, George. So this is the time where we get to turn around things and talk about you and the things that you do. One of the things that really jumped out to me, actually, is, of course, I read a little tidbit of information where you had something to do with one of my favorite movies of all time, The Burbs.
Oh, yeah. I don't really have much to do with it. I was just a PA on the set for a short period of time during the production. But it was fun.
It's so funny because I was really interested. What exactly does a PA do?
Mostly gets coffee and gets yelled at.
Oh, it is what I thought it was. That's fantastic.
So you were a husband.
Basically, yeah. No, it was a lot of fun. You just, I was never I just happened to be in the right place at the right time, and I was out there in LA and ended up kind of nearby and just kind of started getting people coffee, literally. And somebody said, "Where's my coffee?" And I said, "It's right here, sir." He said, "Good boy, go and get more coffee for more people." And I just hung around for a while and ended up kind of doing PA work on the film. So it was a lot of fun.
That's really cool. That's really cool. And I was going to say, it's kind of like a little feather in your hat because you can turn around and say, "Well, I kind of worked my way from the bottom up."
Yeah, always I did, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I did that quite on purpose. A lot of people throughout my life and career have assumed that was not the case, but that was actually, in fact, the case. So, and I would have rather not had it any other way. There's a lot of people in this business who are offspring of others, and it's a slippery slope, right? But I always wanted to be. I never wanted that to be the reason that I did anything. In fact, when I first started working on sets professionally, I did so under my mother's maiden name, just to clarify, and just so nobody would think that I was trying to slide my way
getting
in
the free ride.
So it's a business that it's there's a degree of nepotism in the industry, but there's also a degree of anti-nepotism too. So I didn't get into the business to just walk in one day and say, hey, everybody, I'm George's kid. Give me a career and a budget and all this other stuff. It was something I took very seriously. Was learning the industry from the ground up, and that's that's how it was. No favors.
Well, it's amazing, right? Because that means you're doing it right,
Yeah.
and you could have easily have probably just walked in under Dad's wing and started doing all the work, but to take a step backwards and to learn it and to do it right makes all the difference, and that ends up showing in your production values as well, right? Because you've kind of seen it all ground down from the bottom and work your way up, and you see other mistakes and you learn the mistakes, and now you make movies because of it, and that's absolutely fantastic.
Yeah.
It was
Yeah.
big shoes to walk in. I'm sure you get that all the time.
Mm-hmm. I sure do. Yep.
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
why I chose to try to just make a new pair of shoes.
yeah.
Like it's
That's great.
it's people. You know, people celebrate his work. They celebrate his career. They celebrate his legacy. They celebrate what he
Hmm.
did in his time that he had here, and what he did was phenomenal. I mean, the man reached, literally, the man reached icon status. His contribution to the world of pop culture is arguably one of the biggest, right? When you
Hmm.
look at the reach that zombies have had. And that's not something, when you're young, you think, oh, gee, like what you were saying, oh, I gotta walk in the shadow. And then as you grow and you realize you're not walking in a shadow, you're thinking about the future of a name. You're thinking about the future of a legacy. And then
Yeah.
as you grow further, you realize you're thinking about the next 100 years, right? It's been a little over 50 years since Night. It's been a little
Hmm.
over 50 years since my father and all those folks did what they did back then and had the massive impact on pop culture and the world of independent film in general, not just the zombies, just the world of independent film.
Yeah.
That's not anything. Nobody should ever try to touch that. Nobody should ever try to one up that. Nobody should. There's two
No.
ways to look at it. And what I do is I celebrate what he did. I celebrate his life and his legend and his legacy and his work. And my current and future goal is the next 100 years of the name that I proudly carry. I mean, it's probably, it's one of the coolest things on earth to be the son of that guy. You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah. For sure. Yeah.
But it is a slippery slope, and it's one that you have to just kind of be careful walking. So, I try
Hmm.
to make sure that everything I do with the best interest of the future of my family name in mind.
Yeah. That's excellent.
I have to ask, did you always want to get into kind of the movie business, and or when you were a kid, what did you want to what did you want to do?
Astronaut.
Yeah.
All right.
Hey man.
Yeah. That's legit.
I mean, like, right? I mean,
Yeah.
everybody wanted to be an astronaut or a fireman or whatever.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, but what I learned is, look, my mother was one of the first female vice presidents of an advertising agency in the States back in the 50s, like during the Mad Men days. She met my
Mhm.
father when she hired him to do a job, a marketing job, and then my dad is obviously who my dad, was and is. Like I was
Mhm.
doomed, man. I was, it's not like my mom wanted me to go be an accountant, and I was like, really, really, not that I have anything against accountants. They're amazing people, and they do a phenomenal, amazing job for us. But I mean, really, I'm the guy you're
Yeah.
going to come to for
Yeah.
your taxes? No.
Right. You're gonna say like, really? You're all in like show business. You just want me to be accountant? Like, you want to be a bean counter? Is that? Yeah.
So so I didn't really I'm I have a phrase I say I'm terminally creative. I didn't really have a choice in turning into what I turned into, which is a creative independent artist. I guess the term is these days is maker or creator.
Yeah.
And I came up in a time, before we had the internet, before we had YouTube, before we had all that stuff, and it was literally just about, how do you get around the country to get a job on a film so you can learn from people
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and it's been a crazy ride so far.
Yeah. And the terms behind all the films were so much different, right? Like you just didn't have the special effects that you do nowadays. And everything can be thrown together on a computer. But it used to be like, oh, let's set up blood bags, let's set up this, let's have bone cracking. We got to do this all behind the scene, and it was like a lot of retakes and on lower budget films, which a lot of horror movies are on. It's very doesn't leave a big window for mistakes, right? I mean, I know most films, every mistake is a lot of money that gets left behind, right?
Mhm.
But it was a lot more work. It was a lot more room for error back then, where nowadays you can kind of just throw it onto the computer and fix it up in post.
Well, yeah, I mean, I've only ever used digital stuff to augment practical effects in my own personal career. And I
Hmm.
think that again, that comes from probably being, part of the generation that I'm from, and
Yeah.
coming up, learning by watching people like my dad, and learning by watching people like all of his, that whole group from back then. Um,
Hmm.
Practical effects were just how things were done, and there was this kind of suspension of disbelief. Like if you watch the original Nightmare on Elm Street these days, and they're stuck on you can
Hmm.
see like the holes in the stairs and stuff. But back then, you didn't see that stuff.
No.
And you suspended your disbelief. On the one hand, the CGI stuff, it makes the experience more kind of in your face and more realistic looking, I guess might be the best way to say it. But I
Hmm.
think there's less suspension of disbelief. There's less of a I'm in this ride with this actor. There was an
Yeah.
impending sense of danger. Even Raiders of the Lost Ark, we all know that that wasn't a real giant boulder. But the way it was shot, the way that it was all done, the way the people and the work and the craftsmanship that went into creating that scene, and then you've got an
Yeah.
actor there who happens to be nailing the performance while interacting with this real world scenario that's been created by potentially hundreds of people. There was something
Yep.
about that I feel pulled audiences into the film more. Of course, I guess if you went back today and you did the same film shot for shot, one with CGI and one with practical, that would be the only way to kind of really do a test. But for me personally, I'm
Hmm.
a practical effects guy. I always will be. And a lot of
Yeah.
the independent world of horror is still very into that out of respect and out of budget, because it's a whole hell of a lot cheaper to buy some stuff and make some blood than it is
Yep.
to pay somebody to do all the hours and hours of work that you need to do on a computer. But you're right.
Yeah.
I mean, without the computer CGI stuff, we wouldn't have all the Marvel stuff. We wouldn't be able to like fly through the sky with Spider-Man and all that other shit. So I
Hmm.
think that I got a lot of respect and love for both. But I think for my own personal background, I think the practical effects is where it's at.
Have you saw anything recently that you thought was practical and it turns out it was CGI and you're like, holy shit? Like, have you ever had that moment?
I have not. But I'll be honest with you guys, I'm in the process of writing a bunch of new stuff right now. And when I when I write new stuff, when I have to write things like I'm writing these comics with heavy metal, and I'm working on a bunch of other
Very
stuff,
cool.
when I'm writing new things, I try not to watch new things.
Mhm.
Because I believe that a lot of my own personal creative writing experience and that whole thing comes from my own personal frame of reference. And so if I go throwing a bunch of new movies and new stuff in there, historically it has had a tendency to kind of derail what I was doing and make me start it over. So,
Yeah.
the Rise as a project I've been working on for over 10 years of my life, and I'm just kind of dedicated to that right now. So I'm actually not ingesting a lot of new content right now, which is I don't know if that
Very cool.
sounds fucking weird or stupid, but that's just
No,
the
it
process.
doesn't.
No,
I
no,
see
not
that
at
being a
all.
double-edged sword though too, because then you finish this amazing work and then you flip on the TV and you're seeing a trailer that someone else did for the thing you just created.
Yeah,
Like, damn
yeah.
it. So, but
I'll be
yeah, no,
back in
that's
time,
cool, man.
Joe.
I like that the kind of zero outside stimulus method. I think that's cool.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
we all
Yeah.
have our process, and I've learned to trust mine over the years, and that's one of the things that I work with young and new filmmakers with and about, and that's one of the things I work with veterans about too. Is teaching them to trust a creative process, because a creative process will, if you take care of it and you kind of nurture it and protect it, it will always take care of you. Meaning, it will take care of whatever it is you're applying it to, whether it's a story or a film or a photo or a song or a poem or whatever the fuck it is, some sort of experimental dance, right? Like, if you take care of your inner creative and your own creative process, it will always take care of you.
Yeah, yeah, it's true. It's true. By the way, we have a comment here from Beth. George, you're awesome, and your dad was amazing. Love good old gore that isn't CG.
Thank you, Beth. Yeah, agreed.
So, and it's really funny actually when you talk about like the older films. I mean, I'm still a fan of the older Star Wars, where it was like real people and sticks and actual Muppets and artistry versus the CG ones. I mean, it's, as much as I still like the new ones and watch the new ones, like nothing felt the same as the old ones, So it was kind of nice when they started kind of bringing back the old costumes and makeup for the newer versions. But there was a time where they just tried to cram so much CG in there that it just kind of lost that feeling of real. And when you're doing things like good horror movies or monster movies, and if it's almost too good that it's not real, then you can't really put yourself into that film and really start to kind of relate. And I think that is the thing that makes movies so special, is if you can start to relate with the character in the movie, or even sometimes the monster in the movie nowadays. You can really get into it and say, this could be me, this could have been my life, or this could have been something that potentially could have happened to someone I know. So it's nice to see the old style, and people who can still stick with that is like you said, it's kind of like a legendary thing, and it's sometimes not best to mess with what works.
Yeah, man. There's something palpable. You know what I mean? There's something palpable with the CGI stuff or with the non CGI stuff, I should say. When it takes, how many people it took to paint all of the stuff for Star Wars, and how many people it took to, design, build all the droids, and then paint them, and all the sets, and all the matte paintings on glass and everything. I mean, it took hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of people showing up and doing like this, this hands-on feeling. And for a lot of people who might be watching, who might not have ever been to like a big sound stage or been to a place where a large film has been produced, when you go into those areas, there's a smell. It's like if you've ever been to a theater, right? Like a live theater, there's that. I don't really know how to describe what the actual smell is, but there is a distinct smell to these places.
Yeah.
And in some of these big stages where they made some of these great movies from history, that smell, all I can describe it as is like history, right? It's you're walking where some of the greatest people in this industry have walked. You're standing where some of the greatest directors have directed some of the greatest actors, and where they've had arguments and laughter and jokes and all come together to create this thing that went down in history as a phenomenal film, whatever film that may be. And there's something palpable about that. There's something less than sterile about it. And but nowadays you walk into a place where there's CGI farms, and yes, it's still hundreds of people, but it just smells like a server farm. It's kind of like that whole thing people say about books versus Kindle, right? Books have a smell, knowledge has a smell.
Yeah.
Right.
That's right.
So that's kind of like, I think if you watch the old movies, you can feel that, you can sense that. It's a palpable moment that you can feel that hundreds of people have touched something that you're watching, and that makes it a little bit more special, I think.
I actually had not quite the same, but a similar experience recently. So in our town where we're from, it's called Kingston. We have a pretty famous penitentiary here where a lot of films are shot. And they shot an episode of the show Titans on Netflix. And my wife and friend of mine did the pen tour because it's all closed down now. And we were watching back the show, and seeing what they've done with it, and like the rooms that they were using, we were in those rooms, and it just, it's weird. You get this weird deja vu type of feeling. And I thought that was really, really cool. It made me more interested in the show because I'd been there, you know?
It is cool.
So,
Yeah.
yeah.
It is cool.
Yeah.
Like when I was a kid, we would watch these movies on HBO, and when a new movie was coming out, HBO, before it would come out in the theaters, HBO would air these HBO First Look things, right? And they were behind the scenes, and they were like 20-minute, 30-minute documentaries about the making of some big-ass movie. And you got to see the people. You got to see these actors, you know, that we didn't have social media exposure to. We only saw them on the big screen or on whatever news was showing them, right? So we didn't have a window into their life, but we would see them acting just like everybody else. And we would see the grip department carrying C-stands and pushing dollies, and we would see the cameras, you know, and like when you would see the actual giant cameras that they were using, these things, that was like peeling back the mask, right? Pulling back the curtain to me. And that was like seeing the Wizard. It was like it was a huge moment in my life when I first started seeing some of the equipment that went into the production, and the specialization of it, and how it works all together, you know, and just how all the different pieces come together. It was that was a huge moment in my life when I started seeing actual sets, you know, some of my dad's stuff, and then I'm a kid and I'm seeing like my dad on set and he's doing all this stuff and I'm seeing it, and well, but you know, that's just dad, right? And then I go on HBO and I see a first look behind the scenes thing, and there's people using all the same shit my dad, and I'm like, oh fuck, I get it now. Like I put it together in my head. I was like, this is fucking cool as shit. I was like, I'd be like, Dad, you know how to use that thing? He'd be like, yeah, that's a, you know, whatever it is. And I'd be like,
Continuum transfunctioner. Oh, cool.
yeah. Exactly. And I'd be like, that's so fucking cool, you know. I'd be like, why do they put all that shit up? And he'd be like, well, that's called diffusion, you know. And it was cool learning that stuff, and it was cool to have those conversations with him when I was a kid, like a little kid, you know, like when you're just starting to figure shit out. And and that was kind of like what got me. So yeah, so I
That's
tend
very
to
cool.
ramble. I
Very
apologize.
Cool. No, that's good. That's good. I
that's awesome.
love hearing about these things. Yeah. So what is Halloween like around your place? What's your Halloween tradition?
I don't have one. It's different every year.
No?
We, you know, we go to parties, we throw parties. 2020, I think, is going to be, you know, obviously none of that. So, you know, we don't really have any. We decorate, we hang out, we have fun. And yeah, that's it. You know, we don't. I wish there was some like we get together and draw pentagrams on the ground and sacrifice.
We get a bunch of dolls and start saying "Ade Due Dembala."
Yeah, we don't do it. We just hang out.
That's cool.
Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. No, that's really cool. With all of your dad's work in zombies, and I know now that you've kind of taken up that mantle with some zombie flicks. Like, did you enjoy that as a kid? Like, did you see some of the zombie flicks and just be like, "This is really cool shit"?
I did, yeah. I think just like everybody. Look, I'm a fan first, right? You know, obviously I am who I am, and he is who it was / is. And so of course, you know, there's all that. There's all that. But I'm a fan first, so yeah. I mean, ever since I saw that stuff when I was a little kid, younger than I probably should have been, you know. Yeah. Hooked ever since.
Yeah,
man.
It's funny actually. I was having this discussion with my wife the other day, and about how, you know, maybe parents back in our days just kind of allowed too much. You know, you kind of got away with kids. Kids were watching horror movies at a much younger age, and
no, fuck that. Kids are pussies now.
I would imagine you like to scare the living crap out of your kids every.
Oh man, I scare everyone I can at all times.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
It's my thing. Hey,
when we walk in,
I got it when I was a kid. I'm paying it forward.
Yeah.
So
yeah. So my worst thing was you know, bringing friends over and walking in the front door. My dad was walking around in his underpants. That was like the most horrifying ever for me.
It's a different kind of horror.
So right.
Oh man.
So, right on. Excellent. Matty G, you want to jump into the second half and we'll get into our slightly slower than average rapid fire questions?
Yep, let's do it.
All right, sounds good. We got a few questions here for you, George. If you don't know or don't have an answer, you could just say pass. But other than that, just give us the first thing that comes to your mind.
All right.
All right. Question number 1. What made up word would you register into the English language?
Oh man. What made up word would you register into the English language? You know, I don't know that I have an answer for that one.
That's fair.
I was just about to ask you, was with an apostrophe?
Yeah, we'll take that one. You know?
We'll take that one.
I like it.
It's that nobody's ever put in.
What's the scariest dream that you can remember?
The scariest dream I can remember was it was actually well, I don't know if we have time to really go into it, but it involved a group of random strangers who never met meeting up, being driven to meet each other so that they can find their way to an opening in the earth that basically went into oblivion, so they could all willingly jump into this hole for the purpose of saving time and space. And it was fucking terrifying.
I'm not gonna lie, that sounds like a great movie.
Yeah, it actually does.
Yeah, I actually woke up and started writing it as a script.
That's great, man. All right.
But it was terrifying.
Thanks for the sneak peek, at least.
I'm gonna look forward to that.
Yeah.
Excellent.
If you could pick a superpower, which would it be?
If I could pick a superpower, which would it be? Invisibility.
That'd be cool.
Like
Good one.
All the locker rooms you can handle.
Oh, this one was men's. No. What's your earliest childhood memory?
My earliest childhood memory would be going to the beach with my mom and dad.
Cool. What activity makes you the happiest?
Woodworking, actually. Woodworking with my son. Actually, it's
cool.
We have a wood shop and cool. Teaching him how to do stuff with like the ways and means of the old days with hand tools and
like lathes and stuff like that, and
well, like hand saws and chisels and hand planes,
and,
all that stuff. Yeah, like that's probably my favorite thing to do.
That's really cool, man.
That's really cool. Yeah.
What foreign language would you most like to learn?
Spanish.
Yeah. Any reason behind it?
Better than I know it.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Cool. If you could relive a decade, which would it be?
Oh, I think that's probably got to be probably the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah.
90s, yeah.
Grunge. Nice. Like it.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. I might have to actually make a mashup of decades.
Yeah.
Like a custom decade. Like
well, which would it be, 85 to 95 or?
I think there'd be a little bit of the 70s in there. There'd be definitely some 80s. There'd be a lot of 90s. And honestly, maybe this last decade, 2010.
Yeah. 70s had all the best drugs.
2000 to 2010.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Fuck that.
2000s all the way up to 19. and then we'll see where we land after that.
Yeah.
What was the first movie that made you cry?
First movie that made me cry, probably E.T.
Yeah, that's a good one, actually.
Yeah. I know I go on about this, but that one scared the living shit out of me. So, nightmares for like 8 years solid, right? Almost
really on ET, eh?
Years, yeah, back to back, man. 8 years solid ET nightmares. Yeah,
that's sweet. I'm just gonna call you at like 3 a.m. tonight and be like,
yeah.
How would you spend $100 million?
$100 million. I actually have a very easy answer for that. I would spend literally every dime of it on the Veterans Compound, which is the nonprofit that I just got. Actually, I just got my 501c3 designation for today.
Oh, congrats, man.
Thanks, man. Yeah, it's a program to basically help veterans kind of process their experiences while training them to work in the film and entertainment industry as makers and creators. So
Very cool. Awesome. Righteous
Very
cause.
cool. Yeah.
If PETA wouldn't track you down, what exotic animal would you domesticate?
um, if Peter wouldn't try, probably Bigfoot.
Yeah, a Bigfoot. We've never had that one.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
George's like, I'm not going to say that I've got a bunch of tigers in my backyard. Yeah.
That's awesome.
That's cool. Yeah, nobody's ever said that one.
I like it. What's your biggest pet peeve? What gets on your nerves?
Telling me I can't do something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good motivation too.
Sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you do when you can't fall asleep?
Work.
Yeah. That helps.
Yeah. No, I just stay up and then I'm
Yeah, I
just
was gonna
working
say.
and on no sleep. But,
It's like the opposite.
Yeah. Eventually, yeah.
What's the best thing you've ever eaten?
the best thing I've ever eaten was actually, I have a good answer for this too. Fresh caught Alaskan seafood that my friend in Alaska sent us a couple of months ago. He sent us some like king salmon that was like swimming less than 24 hours before I got it, and
Oh wow.
we ate that, and it was probably the best piece of salmon I've ever had.
I love salmon
Very
actually.
cool. Yeah.
Some people, it's like people have a love-hate
Yeah.
relationship with salmon. But I like
Yep.
it.
Yep.
It's
So,
because it's
I
hard.
despise it.
Some people think it's hard to cook, but it's really not. So
No, it's not.
No,
So-
for me,
but
it's
if you
just
fuck
hard
it
to
up,
eat.
it's terrible. It's like eating. It's like
Oh, yeah.
sandpaper wrapped in burlap.
Well, it's really easy to
Yeah.
dry out. That's
Yeah.
the problem.
Yeah.
So you can fuck it up like literally within like 2 minutes. You can have a perfect piece of salmon to shit. So,
Yeah.
and last question for you: what's your favorite podcast you've been on in the last 12 hours?
Well, I think it's definitely this one.
Good answer.
I'm going to
Good
stay
answer.
careful on that one, Matt. He's got four, so, you know.
Well, there was these other guys. It was these other guys in Canada.
Oh yeah, fucking hosers, man. Give me their names and numbers.
That's awesome. Well, George, I know you've got a lot of productions and new things that are in the works. Thank goodness, and of course, like you said, you've just got your non-charity or non-profit. So this is a perfect time to pitch social media things you're working on, things that we'll make sure we get up on our website for people.
Oh,
What would
perfect.
you
Yeah.
like,
Well,
yeah.
there's a lot going on, you know. I'm writing 2 comics with Heavy Metal Magazine. You guys both look like you're probably too young to remember when Heavy Metal
No,
Magazine.
I know heavy metal. God,
Yeah.
yeah, that's
So,
awesome. That's totally rad. Yeah, I'm trying not to fanboy on that, so that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm writing actually. I'm writing something called Cold Dead War for Heavy Metal, which is sort of an after tale of, if you remember the movie from the Heavy Metal movie, the B-17 segment.
1 and 2.
Yeah, with the Nelson zombie. Basically, I'm writing the after story of that, and I guess I should say writing an after story of that, and then my own project Rise, which I don't know if you guys can see it in the frame that you guys have, but the Rise is a project I've been working on for about a little over 10 years now.
Zoom this
Yeah, there
in
it
over
is.
here. Oh,
In the
there
back
we
corner.
go. Yep.
And so we're actually launching that as a 13-issue comic book series that's going to run within the pages of Heavy Metal Magazine. So I'm working
Sweet.
frantically on that as well. And then I've, of course, got the Romero Pictures Indie Brigade, which is our podcast network. We do a show every Friday night designed to help creators and filmmakers and makers up their game when it comes to their craft. And we've got about 10 other shows that we've added to the network. And that's very exciting. And then, of course, the veteranscompound.org is my nonprofit I've been working to get off the ground for years. And like I said today, literally today, I got the 501c3 designation back from the IRS after battling my way through bureaucracy. But we got it, we
Yeah.
made it, and we're there. And so now there's gonna start to be a lot of that coming out in things that we're doing. So, and there's some other very cool stuff coming up. So the best way to find me and everything we're doing is to just simply go to romeropictures.com. We've got Facebook, we've got Instagram, we've got Twitter, but instead of just listing it all off because they're all different, right? Just go to romeropictures.com, find the links. They're at the top and the bottom, or the bottom. They're somewhere on the fucking page. So go
Yeah.
romeropictures.com. You can find out anything you want to know. We've got all of the updates, all of our latest press. We've got some cool merch. We've got other stuff going like that. And I just run it straight off romeropictures.com. So anything you want to know, anything you want to follow, go there, sign up for the newsletter, stay in touch, and reach out. And we also just launched our podcast over on Twitch as well. And we've got our Discord server. So you can find all of that through romeropictures.com.
Awesome.
Absolutely amazing. And for all our listeners who are on the road and listening to this after the live production, we'll make sure we get a wonderful picture of George up on our website under our guest section, and we will post all his social media and links to right there, and of course to his website, so that you can follow George and everything that he's got going on. Perfect.
Awesome.
All right, George.
Thank you, guys.
Well, thank you very much for your
Yeah.
time. We've loved having you on the show, and we'd love to circle back around with you again at some point and have you back.
That'd be great. Looking forward to it.
That's
Thanks,
awesome.
guys.
Sounds
Take
great,
care.
man. Thank
See
you.
ya.
Have a great night. Take
too.
care.